For those exploring whether COVID originated at the Wuhan Institute of Virology or if it was a natural origin, there are questions as to whether the NIH helped fund at that lab so-called gain-of-function research. Gain-of-function, one definition of that, is when scientists make a virus deadlier and more contagious in a lab in order to identify potential pathogens and prevent pandemics. Now, NIH says very clearly that the research the U.S. funded in that lab did not meet that definition. But either way, Dr. Fauci, I want to ask you, critics say the Wuhan lab experiments were nonetheless risky, whether or not they fit that category. And obviously, the Chinese government is not a good faith partner. They're not allowing transparency. They're not allowing a real investigation. So as a matter of policy going forward, given that the Chinese government won't allow any real investigation, do you still think the U.S. government should collaborate with labs like Wuhan, especially on research that experts consider risky?
Well, you know, Jake, if you go back to when this research really started and look at the scientific rationale for it, it was a peer-reviewed proposal that was peer-reviewed and given a very high rating for the importance of why it should be done, to be able to go and do a survey of what was going on among the bat population, because everyone in the world was trying to figure out what the original source of the original SARS-CoV-1 was. And in that context, the research was done. It was very regulated. It was reviewed. It was given progress reports. It was published in the open literature. So I think if you look at the ultimate back rationale why that was started, it was almost as if you didn't pursue that research. You would be negligent,
right?
Because we were trying to find out how you can prevent this from happening again.
But going forward, like a peer review is looking, those are doctors and scientists looking at the work of doctors and scientists without kind of factoring in the fact that you have an oppressive Chinese government that won't allow transparency. Going forward, are you still confident?
But going forward, we are always going to be very, very careful, go through all kinds of review, including the risk-benefit ratio. So, I mean, if your question, Jake, is looking forward, are going to be very careful about the research that we do, well, we have always been very careful, and looking forward, we will continue to be very careful in what we do. And we are always willing to re-examine the criteria that are used when you do research, wherever you do them. But I think doing research in the context of where these things happen is very important. And SARS-CoV-1 originated in China. And that is the reason. If we were starting to look for bats in Secaucus, New Jersey, or Fairfax County, Virginia, it wouldn't contribute very much to our understanding of where SARS-CoV-1 originated. It originated in China.